Hillary Clinton still walked with Bill Clinton. She could have been like, yo, I'm moving on with my life and I'm doing what's best for me and not showing up, but she still showed up. So what was Michelle going through that was so bad where she did not walk with this man?
What happened that 8 years that we were in the White House? What did that do to me?
Yes.
Internally, my soul, we made it through. We got out alive. I hope we made the country proud. My girls, thank God, are whole. But what happened to me?
Right.
Right? And going through therapy is getting me to look at the fact that maybe finally I'm good enough, right? And unlearning some of those messages that I've been saying to myself, and then trying to actively practice something different to rewire those neurons in my head that make me keep pushing and keep striving.
Going through the White House, 8 years being the first lady, I'm sure it was not easy. And historically being the first Black first lady in American history is a big deal. To me, she should have been standing next to Barack.
And so practicing no in a very different way, intentionally. But then this is what makes it hard because, my decision to skip the inauguration, what people don't realize, or my decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like, people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart.
Right.
It's like, while I'm here really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me, and it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right for me. That was a hard thing for me to do.
If I understand it correctly, she's saying that she had to do what was best for her. Saying no. Now, she's not really saying why she said no. I don't really know. But people felt like you said no because you effectively didn't want to stand next to your husband, which made people feel like, her and Barack are not in a good place as far as their relationship. I mean, there's really no other conclusion you could come to. I mean, she has the right to say no, but it's like, it's just the inauguration day. If your husband was going, what you guys did, what you and Barack did, being the first, just outside of what was accomplished in his presidency, simply being the first Black president and first lady in American history. We may not ever see another one. Just that alone is a big deal. So unless to me, again, I'm not knocking Michelle Obama. I respect her tremendously, but unless she and Barack are not good, I don't see why she wouldn't go, just for the tradition of it. Now, if he said he wasn't going, I get it. He ain't going, you ain't going. But if you're a couple and you stand by him as the first lady, right? I think she should have went. Let me go over to the clip. I want to go over to just to remind people, if you haven't saw, how it looked when all the other former presidents came with their spouse, including Bill Clinton, who God knows how much Hillary Clinton went through with Bill Clinton, him getting head in the White House and all the stuff Bill Clinton did, you know what I'm saying, the numerous affairs he had and the stuff they've been through publicly. And Hillary Clinton still walked with Bill Clinton. She could have been like, yo, I'm moving on with my life and I'm doing what's best for me and not showing up, but she still showed up. So what was Michelle going through that was so bad where she did not walk with this man? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, again, it just was kind of cringy to me. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people looked at it and said, well, you're looking at Bill Clinton. These are historical presidents too, right? So in their own right, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, George W. Bush, his wife, right? After him comes Barack Obama. Barack Obama comes out. He's the only president walking by himself. So to me, it was just embarrassing. It was more embarrassing to Barack. So unless they're not in a good place for their marriage, I don't see what else you could come to. Because if it was me and I'm walking up there and me and my wife, even if we're not on the best of terms, we're not getting a divorce, I'm thinking she's going to walk out with me. I'm a former president. It's a big deal to be a president. It takes a lot, as she knows, and it takes a lot to be a first lady. So for her not to walk with him, I don't understand what was more important. I don't know. I don't understand unless you don't mess with him. You know what I'm saying? So just to look at that was cringy.
Hear it over my mic, but
Boy, is that striking.
former President Obama, former President Obama, getting a resounding, as we would say in New York, a Bronx cheer here.
I have to wonder if this is setting the
But
tone.
look, these are the most.
You know, no disrespect to Michelle personally, but you know, being a first lady, she ain't the first and she ain't the last. As much as I respect her, but you know, it's one thing to be opening up all this on the podcast about how you didn't like your husband for 10 years. Look, I mean, here's the thing. In one way, I get it. You know what I'm saying? She's a regular person, so a lot of people respect it. I respect that about her. I love that about the fact that she's real. But then there's a part of me that looks at it and I say, well, some things are better left unsaid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that people don't need to know how much you didn't like Barack. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that there's a legacy that's important to me. And I think that now it's almost at the sake of whatever you feel like you've gone through personally. Now you're kind of chipping away at his legacy. I feel like Barack did enough damage to his legacy during the Kamala campaign. I talked about that before as far as his speech to black men. But, you know, in addition to that, it's kind of like, you know, here's the thing. Like, I just feel like the Barack and Michelle legacy should stay where it is. Everything personal, that it may not be perfect. We know you're not perfect people. Why not just let that be personal? Why the only black president that the United States has ever had, you know, the only black president with a black first lady with black children, you know what I'm saying? Like, why put this out and chip away and tarnish the legacy a little bit just because you were going through something? Of course you were. We all go through stuff, and it's no disrespect to what you're going through, but I wonder if she's aware of how it chips at the legacy. And I see a lot of people in the comments like, yeah, I'm so happy, you know, so glad you're a real person and good for you. You got to do what's best for you. This shit is crazy. This is like the whole sisterhood thing. And it's like, yo, there's no reason to do it right now, and there's no reason to not walk with him. It just looks like you're not in solidarity with your husband. That's exactly what it looks like. So however she wants to explain it, it still, to me, chips away at their legacy. And maybe that's something that she don't care about right now. Maybe it's just like, yo, it's more about me and how I feel and the things I was going through, and that supersedes this legacy. And that's what this seems like to me. Does it make her wrong? No. She's a human being. She's entitled to be Michelle, the person, right? But at the end of the day, she's still the former first lady. And as I just played, you looking at these presidents, they're all the succeeding presidents before Trump are coming down. No president, I ain't never seen the president walking solo. I just haven't seen it. Maybe it has happened. I went back to try to see in any other inauguration where a president was walking solo. I ain't never seen it before. And to see Barack walking, it looked embarrassing to me.
I walk around with the right dress. I travel with clothes just in case something pops off. Mm-hmm. So I was like, if I'm not going to do this thing, I gotta tell my team, I don't even want to have a dress ready. Yeah. Right? Because it's so easy to just say, let me do the right thing.
But then you become a shock absorber.
Yeah.
And that's what women are.
Yeah.
Shock absorbers.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting. And it's not healthy.
Yeah.
It is not healthy.
Listen, I love Taraji. You know what I mean? No disrespect. I love Taraji at the end of the day. She'll always be Yvette to me, but she's an amazing actor. But it's a different ball game, Taraji. You wasn't first lady, right? You're an actor. What Michelle and Barack are legendary. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm just gonna go back to the point of, when do we say, you know what, there's something greater than me, or I contributed to something greater that's bigger than myself? That's the thing. And all we're doing now is, everybody is so focused on me and what I'm going through and my awakening and my revelation. And everybody's entitled to that. But when you're involved in something that's greater than yourself, that's the thing to me that you have to recognize. And I think at this point, that part is peeling away from the Michelle and Barack legacy. What's peeling, because you don't really see Barack doing that, right? Because he's aware of a legacy is important. right? It's not just the outer layer or playing for the camera. No, it's about the legacy of being a president and a first lady. There's only so many presidents and first ladies in the whole republic of the United States, right? So it's not something light. It's a big deal. And I think now it's being taken as something where, yeah, we made it through, and how much I was destroyed. Again, I don't know what she went through. I'm sure it's not easy being a first lady, but it's 8 years out of your whole life, and ultimately it is what it is. You're a woman who is going down in the books that most women, black women especially, are never gonna be. So Taraji ain't gonna understand that. So women aren't shock absorbers. Women are human beings, just like men. We all have responsibility to ourselves, and we have responsibility, especially when it comes to things that are greater than us. So my issue or my fear is that chipping away at their legacy is going to tell women one thing: whatever you going through, however you feel, in the end of the day, it's always going to be better than the greater good. That's how I take this thing. I think she should have stood by Barack. Let me know what you think in the comments. Crucial Convo.